Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and today we're going to look at the new Obsession bows. Now these are new for 2018. Now Obsession has been around for many years, many years, and they're part of a group, and I'm going to get it wrong, but I think it's called the Archery Group, which includes Trophy Taker, RS, and they've got some broadheads in their range and a few other things, but I'm concentrating down on the bows. Now, Obsession Archery has been in Australia selling bows for a number of years, and I'm going to say it's been extremely unsuccessful. Now, part of that is, I'm going to say, is the price. So this bow here is called the Turmoil, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it more. But first off, I want to talk about the price. Now in America, this bow sells for $700 American dollars. In Australia, current retail on this is $1,400. Now this is what happens when you have no competition and the dealers want to make a fortune. The problem is sales just dry up because people go, well, I'm not paying $1,400 for this bow when I know in America it sells for $700. So as a result, they don't sell any. And I'm sorry for those dealers, but they probably do sell one or two, but not the numbers it should be. I know Obsession is pretty big in America. I know they've got a fair bit of following, and I know they've got some reputation, so that's what I want to talk about today. Now this is my first shipment in of Obsession, so I want to have a look at it, and this video I just want to go through some of the bows and tell you a bit about it, and then I'm going to do separate videos on each of the bows and see how they perform and go through it. Now first off, I want to go through why I'm looking at Obsession. So I currently sell PSE, that's my #1 company. I sell Matthews, and I struggle with Matthews. I sell Bear, which is I struggle with because I struggle getting them. I sell Darton, which I struggle with also. Win and Win I do really well with. So it depends on the bow company. I sell Hoyt. I sell very few Hoyts. So why would I want to pick up this company? What appeals to me about Obsession, and why would I want to add to my range? So I'm going to go back to the basis of Obsession Archery. It was originally designed, as I understand it, by Kevin Strother. Now he's the originator of Bowtech. Now when I sold Bowtech in Australia, it was a huge success for me. I sold 700 Bowtechs a year, placing me at, I think, either the biggest dealer for Bowtech in the world or second biggest. I know there was a big guy in California who's now broke. But back in the day, Bowtech was as big for me as PSE. Now when I lost Bowtech, PSE over doubled in size, so my sales were fine. But basically, I didn't have a bow to compete. Now with PSE has a bow from $400 right up to the expensive bows, and they have every bow covered. So PSE would argue you don't need another bow company, you can just sell PSE. And I'd say yes, that's correct. However, as archers, you like to see different products, and you may not like PSE. I'm going to go through some of that. Same with Matthews. Matthews has the same reason. Some people like them and some people don't for various reasons. I'm not going to go through that, but I want to talk about Obsession. Now, the Obsession bows, they have a range of bows. They really don't have a cheap entry bow. This is the cheapest, the Turmoil. $700 American dollars. In Australia, this is now going to sell for about $1,100. Was $1,400. So we're going to talk about this. I just lost train of thought. Now, the limbs first off. These are a Gordon glass limb. This is the same as your PSE limb, which is the same as basically everyone else uses. But there's a huge difference here. You'll see the angle on the limb pocket here is completely different to the PSE. The PSE limb pocket is angled down, so it puts a lot more tension on the limbs. So you will see with this limb pocket, it doesn't have the angle. Now we're going to go to Matthews, and you're going to say, why do I care about this stuff? You'll see that Matthews has even less tension on the limbs than the Obsession. So the PSE has the most tension on the limbs of all the bow companies, and that's pretty much set. The Matthews has the least. Now, some people are going to say this is good or bad. Have I had warranty claims with the Matthews for limbs? Absolutely I have. Not many, but I don't sell many. So, and the ones I have had are compression cracks, which are cracks on the inside of the limb here, and that's basically from fatigue, and those bows have been fairly old, so it's just time. Now with PSE limbs, I'm sorry if I'm dragging this on, but with the PSE limbs, now I shoot PSE, I shoot probably 100 arrows, 200 arrows a day with my PSE. This bow is 6 years old. Pretty much 6 years old. These are the original limbs. My Expression I shot 100, 200 arrows a day. 2 years, dry fired the bow, nothing replaced on that bow at all in 2 years. Now I sell about 700 PSEs in my state alone to my local customers, and I'm going to say I have had no replacement of limbs, not one. I may have had one, I can't remember it, but I'm going to say none. That's how rare it is. Now the problem with PSE, and people are going to hate me, the problem with PSE is you take this to another bow shop or you work on it at home on your bow press, you're going to blow these limbs up. And people are going to say, no, I don't. I've got one guy who's broken 3 sets of limbs in under a year on a bow I have not replaced any limbs on at all, which is a Bow Bandus Epics. Now I am sure he's putting in a bow press because I can't see how else you can work on that bow. He claims he's not, so I've had to replace 3 sets of limbs. Now for me, that's a killer. It's an absolute killer, and I'm going to say, so I sell, let's say, rough numbers, let's say I sell 700 bows to dealers across Australia. Some of those dealers will have no warranties at all. So my biggest dealer, and I'm going to say is in Wagga, no warranties at all with a PSE. I'm pretty certain. I've had no warranties at all. So let's say I'm taking 3/4 of the sales, no warranties at all. Then I get some people who magically can work on their bows by themselves and replace strings and time the strings. I get cracked limbs. So I suffer probably 1 PSE cracked limb every 2 weeks. And I am sure it's through bow presses, and PSE claim it's through use of bow presses. Now they'll never say it's through a use of bow press, but they can't work on their bow without a bow press. So, like, I don't know. But for me, it's a huge problem. Because in Australia, you know, basically, the warranty is not an issue because PSE will replace the limbs. It's an issue for me because I've got to cover postage from, to, and customers get very upset. But like I said, I get none locally. Now with the Obsession, because these limbs are under less tension, I expect to have less problems with these limbs than the PSE limbs. So I'm talking to dealers. So before I picked up Obsession, I did a bit of research. So I asked dealers and I said, well, how many warranties do you have with Obsession? And they said basically none. Now, obviously Obsession is a different company to PSE as far as volume bows. So let's say you sell 2,000 PSEs, you may sell 10, 15, 20 Obsessions, right? So it's a completely different volume scenario. But these limbs are not under as much tension, so I don't expect there to be any problems. They're the same limbs, good and glass. So that's one of my key factors with Obsession. Now they have these little things on the end here, these little bolts here. This is meant to stop the limb if you dry fire the bow exploding, pulling apart. Whether it does it or not, that's another question. They come with limb savers, like a good feature. Metal limb pockets, and this is on the $700 US bow, the 1100 Australian, was 1400. Metal limb pockets here, this is all good. Machine riser, one single sight position here. There is no lower stabilizer point on the Turmoil for the rear. Now overall, this is a pretty nice little bow. It's got a rotating module, it's a hybrid cam system with, I'm going to say, with a limb stop just there, nice solid looking limb stop. So this is a hybrid cam. It's pretty much like the same as PSE use, same as Hoyt use, but this one's a little bit different. This one has a module at the top and a module down the bottom. So you've got to make sure this bow is timed when you're drawing it back. Now, there is no timing marks on this bow. So there's no timing marks. So the time you're going to have to play around with. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a draw stop, a limb stop there, and there's also a limb stop at the top, just there. So with this, you can actually adjust the let off, basically how much let off you have through advancing and advancing and moving this back. So if you move it back, you increase the let off, move it forward, decrease let off. But overall, not a bad little bow at its price point. Now, Obsession have, bearing in mind that Kevin Strother was one of the originators of this bow design, they have 8 different cams in their lineup, and that's why I want to show you their bows. But the weight on this bow's, you know, the balance perfect. Now, Obsession have a reputation for speed, and we're going to test that when we test these bows, but we're just going through what this bow is about. It has a Saunders cable slide, angled cable guard to reduce torque, to reduce the pressure on the cables. So it's all nice, and you know, stabilizer insert, which is nice, you know, strip out the riser. The bow is nicely weighted. It's probably about 4 pounds with adjustable draw length. So I like this bow as far as looks and feels and all that sort of stuff at the price point. At $1,100, I think this prices up really well against your PSEs and Matthews and that sort of stuff. And providing this shoots all right, I'm going to say this really has a spot in the Australian market. So this is the Turmoil. It comes in black and camo. It comes in 70 and 60 pounds, and also Obsession does a kit with this bow. But to me, it's a nice looking bow. The grip feels really nice. Little wood inlays. It's a nice looking bow. Now, the other company which is similar to Obsession, in my opinion, is Elite. Now, I can't get Elite. I think they probably sell about 6 bows in Australia a year. No disrespect to Elite or the people selling them. There's just not many out there. There might be 10. Okay, I can't get them. So if I had Elite, would I sell Obsession? Probably, and I'm going to show you why as I go through these bows. I think this bow is well priced in its price point for what it is. So that's the Turmoil. So basically, Obsession has 3 price points. So the Turmoil, which is about 1,100 Australian dollars, and then the next price point up, and we're going to go through those bows. I'm hopefully going to get these correct. This bow is the Phoenix 3D. Now, what I really liked about Obsession, pull it out of the packet, was its customization. Obsession in their $1,600 price point allowed you to change the colors of the cams, and you know, if I get stuff wrong, you know, please bear with me, I'm doing this from memory. Orange, red, black. So I think they have 3 colors on cam options. They have in their $1,600 range a whole heap of colors for risers. This is the green, and you can see it's a metallic green. It's a paint finish, it's not anodized, and I think this looks fantastic. Now, the other colors they have, once again, if I get it wrong, you know, they definitely have a white, which is a white speckled like this. They have a red, they have a purple, I think they have an orange. I think I've got an orange here coming. They've got a few others, and they've got a fair few levels of camo. Now, the limb pocket, it's all machined out. It's a nice pocket. So like the Turmoil was a little pocket here and a little pivot here, which was metal. This is all one piece machined, very much like your top of the line PSE limb pocket. They have these dampeners which are meant to be better. Now, I haven't shot this bow, so I can't tell you what it's about. Now, this is a binary cam system. So once again, going where I started from the Kevin Strother thing, this is very much like the original Bowtech cams, and very much like the Elite cams. Binary cams, the cam top and bottom is the same. There's no yokes, so you're going to be subject to cam lean. So that's my first thing, and we're going to look at that when we look at these bows. Now, if you do get cam lean with this bow, each of these limbs is the same poundage. Okay? With PSE, each of these limbs is a different poundage to try and eliminate cam lean. Now, one of my customers did a thing about the position of this string in in reference to the limbs. Now this string will never be in the middle of these limbs. Not possible, because you've got the other side here pulling, so this has to be on this side of the middle. So anyway, it is what it is. Now these feature American Best strings. Now with the Obsession line at the $1,600, you can pick the color of your cams and the colors of your strings. Now I've picked orange, obviously, here. Now my staff said that was a stupid choice, and that's cool. But to me, I thought it had a fair bit of bling and it stood out and it looked quite nice. Now with the $1,600 level, you have 1, 2 real stabilizer positions. I think overall this bow is about a 35-inch, 36-inch bow, and you know, like I said, we'll do a review on it. But to me, this is a nice looking bow at the price point. $1,600 enables heaps of customization. So you go red riser, red cams, red strings, lots of customization. And I don't get that from PSE. I don't get that from any other bow company that I can think of. So that's one reason why I liked Obsession. The ability for a user to customize their bow and go, well, I want something which looks unique. And that's what you're going to get with this cam system. Now, with this cam system, a variable let off here, so you move the and down the bottom here, a nice system. Now this bow is adjustable by module, so you have to buy another module if you want to change the draw length. Changing the let off is just that there. So not as flexible for the user, kind of like the Elite cam system and the Matthews, where you need to buy a module to change the draw length, and I don't know the price on the modules. I did speak last night to Obsession about shim kits for shimming the cams left and right, which is what you do on Matthews and you can do on all the other bows. So they do have those, but I didn't get them with this. This is my first look at Obsession. Now the Obsession come with the sticker and it comes with a hat, which is in the bottom of that package. And I'll just pull that out. So the Obsession cap, pretty boring cap. The sticker's a bit bent. That's the sticker there. Now the manual itself, which is down the bottom, looks like a piece of paper. It looks like an A4 piece of paper. Not an impressive manual, but who reads the manuals anyway? But yeah, not an impressive manual by any stretch of the imagination. So that is the Phoenix 3D. Really like the look of it. Now I got in one of pretty much all the Obsession to look at to see how they shoot and feel, so I can do reviews on them and see which ones I like so I can make a larger order. Now it's my understanding, and before I picked up Obsession, I checked Australia to see if anyone had these bows in stock, and no one really had any of these Obsessions in stock. There was a couple of people I think said they had the Turmoil, which was 1400, but it may or may not be in stock. There'd be very limited numbers. Now this one is the Final Pro X in a fusion orange. Now this is their target bow, the hat. Now to me this bow is straight up against the PSE Supra, the PSE, the new PSE, the Shoot Down. It's a 38-inch bow, axle. Comes in heaps of colors. This is the orange. I'm going to zoom up. You can see the paint finish. To me, it's a really nice finish. I really like it. The orange cams, the orange strings. This has the same binary cam system as the last bow. You can see the cams are a little bit smaller with the draw stop here. To me, it looks really nice. The Saunders cable slide, which is standard on all the bows. The torque-free cable guard system. The two lower mount cable systems. We're starting to get the drift of these $1,600 bows. $1,600 bows are all looking the same. But to me, that is it's a nice looking target bow. I'm really excited to have a shot with this bow. Yeah, the whole metal limb pocket thing, all one piece. It looks pretty good. The limb pockets are all metal. It's a nice looking bow to me, and the color options I like. So anyway, that's the target bow, the Final Pro. at about $1,600 odd dollars. So when you compare a product, you've got to go, well, what target bows are there at $1,600? This is one of the bows, you know, to have a look at and see if you like it. It's definitely not on the cheaper end of town. Now this one's called the Fixation 6M. Now it comes also in a 7M. I think there's two different cams as well. So please, if I get stuff wrong. The 6 refers to brace height, so it comes in a 6-inch and a 7-inch, and the M is a mild draw. I think this also comes in a super fast bow, and the super fast bow is draw length specific, like the full throttle. Now I didn't get any of the draw length specific bows in because I thought it's just too hard to sell. Now I think this bow's pretty quick. I am pretty sure this is it's a smoking fast bow. Now this is the Fixation. It's meant to be Obsession's big selling bow for 3D and hunting. Comes in all your colors again. This is the black, comes in camo. This is really aimed at your 3D shooter, your hunter. Now the bow itself is not particularly light. It probably feels like about 4.7 in weight, and please check that. The balance is great. It kind of leans forward a little bit. I think it's a pretty quick bow. Once again, you've got the binary cam system. Draw length is adjustable by changing modules. Adjustable here in let off. You can change the color of the cams. This is the red, so it obviously comes in orange, red, black. The string colors on this one I chose was the red and black. I just like the red and black look. It reminds me of the film where they shoot vampires and the girl shoots the bow, which is not made anymore. Blade. The Blade film. I really like the red cams. $1,600 on the Fixation. Oh, and I only have one left, so I think I've covered most of the range already. Now this last one, and this is what I liked about the Obsession company, as far as, when I was looking at it. To me, they offered bows which were very unique and very different, and yet comparable to what was in the market. So it gives archers an option if they don't like a particular bow for a particular reason. Now this is the expensive one, so I'll get the name right again. Final Cut. This is their target bow. And for my for some of my viewers who are target archers, shoot through riser. Price point on this bow about $2,100 odd. You've got, it's a binary cam system with a shoot through system, so pulls on one side and pulls on the other, modules to change the draw length. Now this cam system to me is very much like the Martin cam system, which they had about 2 or 3 years ago on their Condors. I really like it, but it's a little bit different. With the Martin system, they had no cable guards, so the strings actually came out wider. Here you've got twin cable guards. Now they're actually not using the Saunders, they're using a fairly cheap, they're using the AAE slippery slide instead of the Saunders roller slide. The AAE slippery slide's not a bad cable slide. Now you'll see these cable guards do not bend in because you need there to be a gap. The gap here is basically 2 fingers wide. It's quite a narrow grip. Price point on this bow, like I probably already said, $2,100. So the same price as your PSE Performs. So, which is also a shoot through riser. We'll just go through there. Stainless steel little fittings there. Now this bow you could shoot left or right-handed. because everything is completely, so sight holes there, sight holes there. This bow's completely the same left and right, except for the draw stops. Except for the draw stops, and that makes no difference which side they're on. But the final cut, I get the, you can see the balance. It doesn't have the balance because it's a target bow. So once you fit the stabilizers, has a lower mount. I'm pretty sure you can change the color of the cams, and with this one I went purple, so I went for black cams rather than the red or the orange. But nice, to me, nice little system, and something a bit different on the market if you're interested in target. So shoot through systems that are currently available on the market for 2018 is OK Archery, which is far more expensive than this, and you can argue which one's better. It's up to you to argue that point. I think this looks nice. I think the price point is better than the OK Archery. I haven't shot this bow. The limb angles, again, not as extreme as the PSE. So these limbs should almost be bulletproof. I think the OK Archery has a similar limb angle to this. Now, I'm going to say something about the OK Archery. Some of the people in my club were shooting OK Archery bows, and they were having trouble with the strings touching, and when I shot touching their arms, which is you're not allowed to have for feeder shooting. When I shot my Condor with the shoot-through system, this cable here was really close to my arm. Darton also has a similar system to this, but it's different. The cams are reversed and they have the twin cable guards, and it's not a shoot-through system like this. The other shoot-through system is like this, is to balance the limb so you get no cam lean. So I'm really interested. I'm interested to see these pegs. I obviously haven't drawn this bow back, so I'm guessing these pegs are going to touch the cams here and act like a string stop, but I haven't drawn this bow back, so let's draw it back. Oh yeah. Oh, that's solid. Wow. Oh boy. It feels like about a 90% let off. You get back there, it's like solid, it won't move, because these are actually touching these cables, and this is actually hitting the limb, so it's as solid as you can get it when you're back there. It can't move, but you got 90% let off, so you're holding, this is a 60-pound bow, you're holding 6 pounds when you're back there, and it's like, I want to let this down, and you're like, you've got to almost push it forward because there's nothing there. You can obviously change that with that, but it feels pretty good. The valley's quite short, but we'll do a full review on this bow when it comes. So that's the Obsession lineup. I think it looks quite good as far as a range of bows, and I like the variety. I really like the price point on the Turmoil. Not liking the price point so much on the other bows in the Obsession line, because they're a little bit towards the top price. So you're really talking top end bows. You're comparing against all the top of the line Elites, the top of the line Hoyts, the top of the line PSE, which are always hard sales at the top end stuff. This is a hard sale to make, saying that I sold a whole heap of Performs this year, so we'll see how this goes. But I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. That's my first look at Obsession Archery and Obsession bows, and we'll do some reviews and some speed tests and see how these things shoot. I'm also going to do some tuning with some of these and see how they go, because there was some cam lean issues on one of the bows I drew back. Obsession say it shoots fine and it'll paper tune fine without shimming the cams, and I'm going to test that on the video. So anyway, that's Obsession. Thank you for watching. Bye.